Yo, what is up? Today I'm gonna actually try to fix the neck rig, and then do another mocap test with it fixed. Mostly the neck. Most of the neck. The other things I kind of thought about it. It's like, those are fine. We just kind of shoot around it. I did rediscover this character artist. He works at like a real game studio. I forget the one. But as I look into like further, oh, he follows you, Mark. Further getting into more character stuff, like the clothes, I have my approach. It's something you work on for like your entire life, getting better at. But with the base MetaHuman, still not ready to like modify the MetaHuman itself, like its topology, because I'm gonna wait for some hopefully more like automated rigging tools for that kind of stuff that'll be in Maya. Go looking at hair. I on my main YouTube channel, like I don't know many how long ago actually. Oh, it was in preparation for MetaHumans actually. I spent like 6 months. It was a long time making grooms. Hey, what's up, Thomas? How's it going? I did grooms in XGen like this for like
You can do all kinds of cool
many
stuff.
months. It pretty much like was resigned to the fact like that it's also very, very, very hard to do correctly. But I'm thinking about it again because, as many people have figured out, with MetaHumans, as soon as you start to add like a hat, you can't use any of the grooms. Basically, none of the grooms will actually work with the hat. You have to design the hair specifically for the hat. And there's some things coming up that, I mean, even for like production, like Cinetracer, I would like to be able to like basically make headwear and hats for them without them being bald. So this is pretty nice. One of the harder parts is definitely the shader, and the way that Epic approaches the hair shading is like very high end. Kind of just like how like the shaders and the material setup for like a t-shirt or something like that is like very, very crazy, which is cool. It's like super customizable. But I was kind of flying through his tutorial, and I don't know, hair might be something I try to get back into again, and then kind of make use of my fairly expensive Maya subscription, like actually use XGen again. I must have had it. I don't know. So it was a while ago. Might have been like a full 2 years ago. But XGen's not too hard once you get the hang of it. It's the workflow. Back to Unreal Engine, and I'm not really sure how the physics works either, because back then I wasn't doing groom physics. I was just doing regular groom. So this is like a maybe. Grooms don't take as long as clothing for me because I'm not very good at them. I feel like, like the actual XGen, like if we consider this like I don't know, like the ZBrush phase or whatever. Actually, you can do the hair sculpt in ZBrush first to kind of get like the overall volumes and stuff, right? And then draw splines over them, and then those splines become the actual XGen splines, which is kind of a nice workflow if you're good at sculpting. This big old Cintiq. But if you're going back into the engine as actual groom, which is like spline hair, then you don't have like the insanely laborious conversion process back to cards. But that being said, for like actual production, grooms are still a little experimental and expensive to put in like an actual video game. So we'll kind of see how they go in Cinetracer, like from production point of view. Shipping grooms in 4.27 is as stable as it ever will be for a Unreal Engine 4 release. And with 5, I imagine, given like their big focus on them, they probably will be stable. So I just don't know how shipping grooms goes to like, consumer game level hardware. Even too many like Lot Zero grooms will crash like my workstations. But it's still relatively early. So the main issue, I want to today or tomorrow produce like a 30-second clip of just me talking and moving as the Witcher. No swords yet or anything, because the goal is to author this into like a usable game cinematic asset for Unreal Engine. And the way that I do Vicon props is pretty much the opposite of how you do game cinematic props or game animation props. My version's like too crazy, basically. Like actually doing prop tracking, pretty much no one does that for video games. Anytime you see mocap artists holding props, it's just for fun. It's like kind of to get the hands in the right place, kind of to get like the right motions, kind of. But no one ever puts like the way I've been producing prop content or prop tracking into actual games, or it's very rare. So I'll have to figure that out, kind of. And there's no parenting animation tools in Unreal Engine, so I don't really know. I'm not really sure how the hell that's going to happen. But I have a couple of theories. So the main fix I want to go for is this. Is the neck popping out. And I'm going to go do a retarget in Shogun after this, which is basically kind of, I think we're going to parent neck. I might like unparent neck 1, to be honest, but like take the neck 1 bone and the 2 bone, and I think parent that to the Vicon neck 2 bone, which should basically almost nullify or redistribute like the neck a lot more conservatively and give most of it back to the head, which might look super weird. We'll find out. But even if it doesn't work, I'm going to try to rig the neck so that if we do go forward like this, that the neck follows it. So, loaded up Maya. NG Tools was kind of freaking out. I had to reset it a bunch of times. I don't know. It's definitely not a first-party tool. Like it's a plugin written for it, but there's like some things that like mess it up for sure. So we have 40. I started a new one, file 42, and we're looking at the rigging of this piece here. Going to solo. Oh, I need the skeleton actually. But actually, let me boot up. Or I guess I could just grab the neck to start. So I don't have a head on this. Or do I? Wait a minute. Is there a head on this guy? I don't think so. I think I deleted it. It would be nice to have the head, but did I have a head in here? How was I doing this? How did I rig this? I don't think we've had a head the entire time. I've had like an unbound head. But it basically shouldn't matter. It would be nice to have the neck. So I'm still working on trying to get that like source file for rigging. But what we have going on here, it would be nice with the texture on it, but like basically I did about, I think 50% to spine 3 and then 50% to spine, or like 20% or something like that to neck 1. And side to side it's kind of okay, but where it doesn't work out is when the neck goes like really far forward. This doesn't move, so we have to bind a lot more of the initial collar and one more row and possibly another row after that to respond to neck 1. So this doesn't happen. Or when it does, when his neck goes forward like this, because it's kind of overactive, that this comes with it. So I should be able to just do a couple tests, and we can use this animation here to check how it's going. And I just come in and I switch out the upper body skeletal mesh. It's just not too bad. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to reset this thing. Reset back to biome pose. And let's see if NG Skin Tools is going to behave right now. Oh, it's over here. Here it is. When I go into like actual Cinetracer production, I will buy the commercial version. This is still just testing. I'm like, is this worth it? Am I staying in full Maya? I don't know if I'm going to go get a commercial version of Marvelous. I think I'm going to stay away from that for a little while. Just to kind of focus down on one DCC. It's so easy to get like stuck into some fun new DCC, but like really we need to ship assets, and it's really Maya, and Marvelous is just like a helper. So I still don't know if like time-wise I can afford to really get into it. So let's see. So I'm gonna start by soloing this, because then I can't, because the shoulder pads are like on there. Hopefully when I switch to paint now, okay, good. Okay, so like before these didn't show up, and then the colors didn't show up, so I had to reinitialize skins, create a new layer, and then delete that new layer, and then it finally showed up. Okay, so we have a bit of a disaster. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Like, this is a super odd weighting, but this is spine 1, where you see, I forget what bone that is, but there's oh, I guess that's probably spine 1. But anyway, this is kind of an odd weighting. I'm not really sure what the idea is here. Oh, I could try to fix the belt too, actually. Let's look at pelvis. Oh, pelvis is who owns this whole thing. Okay. So the problem with this belt folding which I guess we'll go for this fix too, is that like the pelvis owns half, and then spine 1 owns the other part, and then spine 2, and then even spine 3. So we're gonna come clean up the belt too. So this is like when you project the skin weights or copy skin weights. That's just not gonna. That just doesn't work out. And even up here, you can see how it's getting kind of messy. But spine 4 pretty cleanly owns this area. More than I thought I was going to. Red is, what is red? I don't know what percentage red is. I don't remember red actually in the spectrum. But then we have neck, right? Like this, and then a tiny bit of head for head influence for the top, which is probably unnecessary because neck 1 is like the main driver. So the question is we're going to focus on this area. And so the main question is, who's the first owner? Like, who's like the first parent? And it's definitely spine 4. So first part is going to be, oh, what the fuck? Okay, here we go. So the first part is going to, and I should have extended this down and given this more subs, but we're not going to do that. No modeling fixes at this point. I'm going to make many MetaHuman skins this year. People have been contacting me to make them custom skins. I'm like, no. Those would have to cost like 30 grand for me to be worth making anyone a custom one. Even then, I would still wouldn't fuck with that life. Anyway, what happened to no subdivs here? What happened? Why are there no subdivisions in this thing? This is gonna deform kind of poorly with this. It's gonna be like this big, yeah, okay, so I don't know what I was thinking. This minimum needs like 1 row, if not 2. Oh, that's gonna look, I mean, it's gonna look okay, but it definitely needs like a twist row. Like if this is twisting and it's just gonna, this texture, you're just gonna feel like it's shearing kind of. Oof. Oh well, that's too late though. We're gonna pretend like I didn't model this. Okay, so the easiest way to grab these is actually going to be like, I'm just the rigger. I didn't model this. That person's stupid. These ones. Okay, so there's the collar. I need to learn how to do selection sets because I'm sure it's a thing. I'm sure I can be like this selection set, so I don't have to do this over and over again, but this is like the full collar, but we actually need to consider taking this row too. Oh, and it's on a loop. Fair enough. Questionable back here, to be honest, but I'll take it anyway. Let's just do the loopy loop. The neck doesn't go back. Like necks only really go forward. So really it's unlikely that the neck 1 will ever go back here so that this will pop out, but who knows? We'll kind of weight it evenly. And this will start to now mess up our helper bone that's in there. I forget what it's called. It's like clavicle upper, and then there's like clavicle scapula or something like that. I forget. One in the back. We also got to do the buckle, but we're going to do that differently. So we have this selection here, and we're going to reweight from scratch, basically. Which is why copy skin weights, it's only good for so much. You really got to get into like the thick of it here. So we're going to replace this with 100 to spine 1, which is basically flattening out. We could do it on layers, but I'm just going to blast it out like destructively. So we're going to take this and say 100 intensity, I think, replace. Boom. There it is, white. Okay. So that basically says that like whenever spine 4 moves, this 100% comes with it. So that would make this even worse now. Like when the neck moves, it's like the neck doesn't even exist. So the next step is going to go to neck, and it's, oh wait, did I take a weird road? Oh no, I got it. So what I'm going to do now is lose this. Actually, I think I need the collar. That's the thing. I think the collar needs to move like here. Like, is it gonna? Where's this? This vert I have here is here. So if his neck moves forward, it's like this whole piece is gonna move forward too, which means we're gonna hard rig this to the neck basically. Maybe 50-50. We'll see. Maybe 50-50 spine 4 and 50-50 neck 1. But basically from like here over, that whole thing's gotta move. You can't just be the neck or this. It has to be this whole kind of piece. And so the question becomes, at what weight is gonna make sense? It can't be low like this. This is like currently, I think it was like 20% or something. It needs to be like 60. Like Maybe higher. I don't know. So I'm going to try 50.5 onto neck 1 and boop it there. I should learn how to use the damn layers. It's like the first feature of this plugin is that you can do this on layers and probably undo it, but I never really figured out how that works. I didn't really try either. So to test it, I don't have a head, which would be helpful with a neck. Working on it. But I can still do like this. Right? So the behavior is when the neck goes forward, which I'm kind of simulating like what this guy's neck is doing. It goes in, which I don't super love at all, actually. I think that's gonna look kind of funny. So I don't like that. That's not what I wanted. But I got to see it. Now, if I keep undoing, I don't think this is gonna undo. Oh, I hit apply. Damn it. I gotta be really careful about hitting that apply button when I think it's the paint button. Yeah, I just painted the whole damn chest to the neck. Okay, whole body actually, everything. So I actually don't like that weighting. I'm gonna see if I can go back to the point where that's gone. I think it's gone now. Okay, so I'm gonna take out this row here, and that can get. I'm gonna smooth it basically. I think it's called smooth. So I'm gonna come back a row, which is this one. Oh no. I think I just changed this. I just came back a row. So now it's just the neck like that. So this what I'm gonna do. So just this I'm gonna do at like 50 and see how that is. I won't really know. I'd have to send it to Unreal Engine because I don't have a neck in here. I could go import. I could import another MetaHuman, but then there's something with the skeletons all having the same name that like it kind of doesn't work out. So I don't know. So I'm gonna weight this at like 0.5. It probably needs to be higher. So it's gonna basically split this now between spine 4 and spine 5 at a 50-50, which is like yellow. And I feel like we selected way too much again. What happened here? We're gonna go back. How come all that? Okay, I'm gonna go reselect. Oh no, it was still selected. That selection didn't drop out. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it showed me that it dropped the row, but it didn't. So I was gonna by hand. I need selection sets. Something to look into for the rigging days. Okay, I just selected everything. Okay, so next test, let's do well, actually we could do apply, but okay, we're gonna try to do a 50-50 split spine 4 and neck 1. Like that, which is yellow. So, and then there's a blend between, I don't know if this means anything, but like I would give this maybe like 0.25 now, this next row, or let it do a smooth, either one. So let's take a peek. I wish I had a neck. I will next time I go and make a character. I'll try. Okay, so now that's a 50-50. So it's not like 100% bound to it, but it gets about 50% of that neck rotation, and that should probably be enough. And then this row stays more or less in place, and this one is like the deformation line here, which I think is fine. I think is a little bit better. So the next question, let's see if it actually reconnects. Okay. Maybe that's like one drop packet. I don't know what that means. But anyway, this neck binding is a lot more stiff to this one, and it has no deformation for this, basically. It doesn't really need it. It would be this, if I bind to this, it would be taking away from this one. So this is a lot more active. So the next question is going to be, who controls this thing here? And it is, don't hit apply, that went over. It's pretty much, I don't know what orange is, but it's pretty much like 50% on spine 4, which it should basically have been 100%, I feel like. Somehow none on neck. Oh, I know why, because there's no neck mesh when I rigged this. And I don't know who else owns it. Oh, the clavicle? Oh, crazy. Okay, so we have to completely reweight this thing again. We basically have to reset the weighting on this thing, because it's owned, because the copy skin weights did something like kind of ridiculous, because there was no full body. So I fixed that. Let's see. So I really got to learn how to do like one thing. Maya convert polygon selection to vertices. Where is that? Select convert, fair enough. So it's pretty easy to, actually you could maybe do this with verts too. Never mind, you can just double click the verts and it hauls them. So this thing is, for all intensive purposes, rigid. If this was deforming, like bending this way, I could see splitting it half here, and it kind of like makes a U shape. That's not what happens at the chest. So mostly we want this thing to stay stuck to wherever these polygons are. And what's happening is this row of polygons is half spine at this point, and the half neck. That makes sense. Is that what it is? It's 50-50 neck spine here, 100% spine here. So it's probably pretty safe to do maybe 50-50, and if not, maybe 75-20. So we're going to start with neck 4, go to paint, and we're going to just flood this to 100 to start. So now it's 100 on the 100% on the spine. So when this comes forward, this row is going to go backwards, and this one's going to stay put. So this is going to end up floating. So the other thing we could actually do is maybe the top half of it is 50% neck, so that it kind of like rotates backwards. That would probably be the best. But I'm going to try flooding the entire thing to neck 1 at point... Let's try the 0.5, but you kind of see that like at the top it could be 0.5, but at the bottom it's like it's trying not to be so much. So maybe if I split the difference and say like maybe like 0.35 is kind of a guess. For this neck, I'm gonna apply that. So that's kind of an odd one, but let's see how that deforms. Yoinks. It's not bad. At a certain angle, it kind of like disappears into the neck a little bit. And without the texture on it, actually it's kind of floating around. Like it moves a lot. But it does kind of feel like it's on the neck as this neck moves up and down. We really need a texture on here to kind of sort this out. I don't want to put a texture, however, because like this is all prepped to go back to Unreal Engine. So I think it's probably floating right now. Yeah, it is. So let's set this back to T-pose. So at its like neutral phase, it's kind of sitting where it should be. And as it comes down, it's going to go into the body a little bit. And then it goes up, it's floating. So it doesn't have to be that much. I think it's going to be way less than what I just did. So let's reset to T-pose or A-pose, whatever. Getting this thing. Do we still have the verts selected? We do. Go back into paint mode. And so I'm going to go back to spine 4. This is why layers happen, but I don't know how to use them. We're going to apply 100 back to the spine. And to the neck, I'm going to try like 0.1 instead, because that was way too much. I want it to like just barely move, really. And yeah, okay, so let's try 0.1 on the neck. Come here. Yeah, okay. I have joints on, yeah, okay. Get it. It should prioritize skeleton selection. There it is. So that's a little chiller. Like it's kind of moving with it. And that's pretty deep on the neck. Though my neck does go kind of nuts. Necks don't move that way. Not really. So it's like basically here to there. So like as we come forward like that, that's all kind of okay. Like I think it's okay. Well, we'll find out. I think something like that's pretty okay. I could go maybe like a little bit more active. But it's mostly staying in place for here. That's the forward axis that is kind of like the biggest troublemaker. And then there's looking, which is like, it's a little weird. And this is still only 50%, and we don't have the head, so it's hard to say. I'm going to send this back to Unreal Engine, and that's where we're going to really check it, because I still don't have like a proper way of looking. I don't have a properly skinned mesh for this thing, which is why I was digging through that Maya file before. But let's save this waiting. I kind of want to mess with the belt actually real quick, so get this back out. I'm going to do like just a quick test on this belt. This is not, again, the geometry, not the best. Take this, this, and that. I think that's it. And some weird normal issues, actually. Damn ZBrush. Making weird polygons. So I'm going to hop back into paint mode, and we'll see that it's like pretty 50-50 in this hotspot to the pelvis, so just the front. Oh, there's the back. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Actually, we only want to affect the front because like there's like butt bones. So like when it makes sense that this is here, that the butt's kind of taking control, but the front, this thing gets like so squished. I would rather it kind of clip into the body than be like a squishy belt. But I forgotteth, the MetaHumans are quite tricky. And look at this. Like, it makes sense for this bone to own so much of it. Man, that's a tricky one. Okay, well, let me try to bend this thing. That's a hard one. Let's see. I'm going to bend the legs forward like this. And let's see what bones are, like, really being active on it. Okay. And then let's look at the other thigh. So we go up. Yeah, so it's a tricky one. It's not helped by like the fact that this rigged like this. I mean, it kind of does need to be like that. That's the hard part. The question is like if I and we're not seeing the helper bones fire because I'm not using the real Maya file. I have the like in theory in my head approach, but then I realized that the MetaHuman's always one step kind of further. Because I was like, oh, it's only going to be rigged. It's only going to be split between like pelvis and the spine, but in reality, it's pelvis, spine, and these helper bones. But these helper bones aren't firing. Like, what is this helper bone called? Thigh forward. That makes sense because I mean, like, it's here, and when this goes up, the thigh bone, this thigh corrective is going to like come down, which is what's pulling on this. Let me go look at like the worst case. So like even here it's so distorted, like, but it's a complicated distribution. Like even here like that, it's like, oh, but if the thing is, if I don't let it stretch, it's going to clip inside. So I kind of have to like leave it like that. This belt one's kind of a tricky one. I need to kind of watch like in The Witcher, like I still saved this armor. This is like the starting armor, hunting armor. I saved it so I could watch it, how they have it rigged kind of, but if I hardbind this and I don't let it stretch out like this, like what I was considering to this one doesn't stretch really, it's going to clip inside of him. That's what's going to happen, which is probably worse. Like as you're walking around, it's like you're not really noticing it stretching, but you would notice it like this metal thing disappearing. I guess I'm leaving it. I don't know. Well, let's just work on the neck anyway. There's multiple areas to look at. So kind of added a bit more weight to the neck for this. All right, so that's a lot more active. It still might not be enough. It might not be bound enough, actually. Still, we'll see. Okay, so getting this back to Unreal, we're gonna click the body, the skeleton, and that body mesh, and we're gonna hide all the non-dag things. Upper body, that one, which has the gloves in it too, I guess. So, export selection. Oh no! It's got to be this one. That's a problem. If this is wrong, it doesn't work, and it's very fussy. It's very specific, and we want to do the 2018 version, but let's see how this goes. It's usually this preset and just don't touch it. What is this? Oh yeah, okay, I got tricked. That's not it. From UE to UE. Here we go. Okay. Oh, we've only done one of these. Okay, so here's the first iteration on this one. Here's our second upper body skeletal mesh. We don't really, but we'll see. This is usually fine. And back to Unreal Engine. So let's go bring in the new one and replace it on this and see how the neck deforms on it. Here we go. Okay, so import. Those are like transport Unreal Engine files for me. MetaHuman Witcher 2 UE, our second upper body. MetaHuman base skeleton. Don't make any materials. We have them all. Actually, it probably won't because it'll recognize the name slots, but I don't want any materials. This is normal. This is just saying that there's certain things that aren't bound to it because we didn't do toes specifically in this case. So there's the new rigged version 02, and we'll go stick that in our new MetaHuman, the Witcher guy. Here, we'll switch it to the second version. Shouldn't look too different until we start moving. Kind of confirming that this is the 02, this is the 02. Put this blueprint here. And back to sequencer, and let's look for if there's any better, how the neck deforms now. What's up with this light? Kind of put this on his eye so I can actually see him. Okay. So there's a forward neck moment right there. So the neck is staying better in so far. Still clips here, but it's clipping less. So we're gonna bind it even harder and maybe bind it to neck 2 a little bit on the top. Cause like I think like the base of the collar is now keeping the head in, but then we can take maybe just this upper row and it binds to neck 2 and maybe head at like 0.1 as well to allow that to allow the part to kind of shear versus like it move like one soup can. Like it's not metal, like it can bend a little bit. So the upper row for sure, I think I'm gonna bind it at 0.1 to the neck 2 and combined with the head. So the base of it's pretty much staying in, but it's the top of the collar that's still coming out. So that's a turn. I think that turning's pretty good. This looks like a pretty necky moment here. Yeah, so it's really just the top. We could go probably like 0.2 on the bottom to like really have it stay, but I think we got it in there. I think it's, I'm gonna give a tiny bit more to the whole thing, and then I'm gonna give the top row 0.1 to the neck and the head. And I think that'll do it. Oh, this is like the most one. So the question is he ripping out here? He's not. The base is staying in. Like you see this kind of like bend in there. That's like really active. And it's just this top collar part, which is not so bad, but it is distracting because I'm gonna go to a talking scene. So, you know, you're gonna be seeing the head. That's annoying, right? So we don't want that. And this too. So I think that's gonna make sense to give that to the front part. And this is very necky as well. And this is very likely to break because like this is my retarget being just like way too active. Like, and it's hard to act it, but like really, if I'm wearing kind of like a stiff leather collar, I shouldn't, you know, be able to move my neck that much. Like really, this is a pretty restricting kind of leather jersey, and I'm not wearing that. Okay, again, this is what happens when you skin an A pose. Is this? I can come fix that, but there's not enough resolution in there. So I swear you have to build this in T pose, and then bring it down and leave a lot of rows in there, else that stretches. Okay, so yeah. I'm gonna go give that a shot. I feel like we got it, but I want to go kind of like a little bit more. The buckle worked out pretty well in my opinion though. Oh no. So take this again. I'm gonna give it, oh no. I think I was gonna say it's at 0.1 now. Damn, I should use layers. I should definitely use layers. I'm gonna go to 0.2 or 0.15 maybe. Actually, it was pretty good, wasn't it? But I'll take a little bit more. Just a little bit more to have the top not have to be so flexed out. Let's see how this goes. This one. Okay, it actually works. That's good. And paint mode. So with that selection on neck 1, I could set it to 0.2 and replace or add. I'm going to replace though. So now it's like even stronger. These don't work when you're in this mode for some reason, so I don't know. I'll just go get them by hand. So the next part is really not even this bottom dip, but like kind of starting from like here all the way around. But it probably should include that as well. It doesn't need to include this bottom row. So now we're worried about, as the neck tips forward quite a bit, we're worried about this stuff. His chin clips through here. I needed more subdivisions because then I could have like spread it across here. It's just like this whole tower is just gonna like shear back and forth. It's gonna look kind of weird. But now we want to go to neck 2 and head. So we'll do neck 2. Hey, what's up with paint? Oh, I was in selection mode. Okay, so we're back in paint. There's no weight on neck 2, so we're about to take away weights from the other ones. So I was thinking like 0.1 looked pretty good from before. So we'll do 0.1 to neck 2, which is not that active. It's kind of like a counter one. And then head, you should be blue now, first of all, because I put weights on you, but we'll see. I'll also do 0.1 for the head and see how that goes. Like that. So you guys should have colors now. This should be a blue bone. I don't know if it needs to like refresh or something. Like maybe when I refresh the tool, because those have weights now. So this neck thing is basically skinned now, primarily or firstly to spine 4. And this white row here is 100% bound to the spine. Then spine 5, everyone skips. Neck 1 is this row 2 is about 50% neck 1. Is that what I said? I forget completely how much this is. Anyway, oh, was it 0.2? This might be 0.2, I think. Neck 2 does have weight, but it's just the top row, 0.1, and the head is 0.12, so it's going to share it. So that really comes down to either how you animate or how you retarget, how your head moves. Though maybe if you're rigging it, it's like it doesn't matter, but I think about it at least. Like if you know like a certain bone doesn't, like when you're retargeting, you like zero that bone out. I mean, you shouldn't probably rig to it. So it does kind of matter. You kind of need to know how this is animated. And mostly like when you're doing this, most people, you build the control rig in Maya and you kind of control how that works. But ours is going to split up over between Maya, Vicon Shogun, and Unreal Engine. So there's kind of like 3 steps to it. Let's see. We want to export. Oh no, we need the this one and the upper body. There we go. Root, upper body, and our 3rd iteration of this one. We're doing neck. This is all like neck tweak. Guess I'll write neck, so I kind of know what this one is. At least the workflow from Maya to Unreal Engine is like very solid. There's not like usually any issues there. And that's worth the price of Maya alone. I could have replaced the O2 as well, but I'll just keep importing. These don't add too much to the project. O3 neck fix or variation, MetaHuman skeleton, no materials. Gonna give me a message log. It's fine. Save all. Select the new 3rd version. Swap it out here. Shouldn't look any different. Okay, so I think it's in there. I don't know. We'll see. So that's a very necked out one. I see it moving. Yeah, I see it. I'll make this bigger. But like even right here, it's like you can see it's like it's moving with the neck now. Did it pop through a little bit? Yeah, it popped. It's not through, but it's like kind of in it. There it's holding pretty well. Pretty well. I could go a little stronger on. Ooh, he pops out here. So the question is what neck bone is doing that? I think it's a harder bind to spine to neck 1. I think neck 1 still needs more. And I would say neck 1 still needs more. Oh yeah, we're still out. Damn, we're like really out, really. Oh, you know what? We don't want influence from the head. I got to take the head influence out because the head can go counter. And we don't want this neck 2 thing because neck 2 is actually countering. Neck 1 is here, neck 2, and then the head is up here. Neck 2 counter rotates what when the first neck is doing. So this goes forward, this one goes back. So it's basically negating it to put any weighting on neck 2. So we're going to pull out neck 2 weighting. And actually, I don't think you can do it in control rig, but you can't separate the axes. Like what I would say is that when the head rotates on Z, I would want the Z rotation to go to the weighting, but not when it's rotating on X, like forward, because the head could counter this neck animation and then it's going to rotate it out. I don't think you can do per axis skin binding. That would require a special bone and a special control rig post process. Okay, so that's worse. That's a worse one. So no head. In this case, we're not going to have any head and neck 2 rotations. I would need to have the actual file in Maya to tweak that, right? So I kind of need to go back but I can unweight it basically. So we're gonna put the whole thing on neck 1 is the new strategy. I don't like how that went. I don't understand enough about this chain. Look how small the head bone is. Is it really there? Something's wrong about that. It doesn't feel right that the head bone's there. Have we reset? Here we are. Anyway, let's go back. We're gonna reflood this. Let's take this. And I didn't take this rose. Yeah. So, let's do. I think I did 50-50 between the spine. I'm gonna do like 70 maybe. I'm gonna try 70-30 on this one. So let's go back to spine 4 and paint and weights and 100. Then we go to neck 1. So there should be no weights on these now. Yeah, there's nothing on the heads. And now let's put this to like, did I say 0.6 or 0.7? I'll try like 0.7. So 0.7 from neck 1. So this is gonna really be active, and so like the collar is probably gonna lose itself. And it's almost at this point that like this row here, it really doesn't want to move. It needs more resolution. So this is where like the resolution of like the LOD 0 MetaHuman starts to come in. We definitely want a row here, and we definitely want a row here. Hey, what's up?
What is that?
It's a neck. It's a neck.
It's looking like a cat for me.
A cat?
Head.
Oh, a cat's head? Oh, but there's no actual head. It's like the collar of a shirt. You can go get your iPad. You have school soon, right?
To me, but when I said that, I was like, what?
Yeah, it's a little abstract looking right
It
now.
looked like a cat.
A cat?
Like when you did it the other way.
Oh. Oh. So this is what's going to happen here now. How much did I do before? That seems like too. I think I did 0.5 before. It's too much. It's kind of what you need, and then I have this problem now of how much is the... How is this supposed to come along for the ride? So I'm going to try that. That was 0.7, I think. And so this needs more now. Okay, go get your thing.
I was going to go first, and then I kind of slipped through Mom's timer.
That's fine. You're good. Nothing. Okay. It is. We got good heat in this room. Okay, so back to spine 4. I don't know what number that is, so I guess I'll just flood it so that we know. 100% spine. How much neck? Should I do 0.7 again? That seems... I don't know. I'm going to try 0.5. I don't want it to do as much, but it kind of needs to do a good amount, so try 0.5. And I imagine this is what rigging is like for any game. It's like you put these accessories on there, you rig them, and it's like if they don't work, it's like maybe we don't, maybe we project this onto a texture. You can see it on like Witcher 3. Oh yeah, so it's gonna like disappear in certain places. I don't know if I guess that's kind of okay. The only way to deal with that, I mean, it's not great. It's not great. But that is kind of like how much it needs to move. It's kind of like this is unrealistic that the neck piece would deform that much, and then just generally if I don't move my neck as much, it's not an issue, but I've been noticing in Witcher 3 that like Geralt's armor, not all the armor is created equally. Some of the armor is rigged kind of worse than others, and then like NPC's rigging is like mostly texture, and the rigging is not all that good. And then even on like the cinematic NPCs, like the characters you like actually talk to, Yennefer's are really good, but then like the other support characters' rigging is like not the same. Like there's a lot more clipping and less actual 3D details. So okay, well we'll give this a shot. Let's do upper body. It would be great to have the actual neck in here, but then again, we're not firing the secondary bone, so I can't really check it anyway. It's best to check it. You got to check it in the engine anyway. You could live link this back to the engine too, but there's a new Maya live link update, but I don't trust that stuff. That stuff's really fragile. This is FBX transport, not fragile. Always works. Go Z, can go die. And Live Like Maya, maybe there's cases where it works, but I'd rather just stick to something that I know works. Ghostie's awful. I tried this one. MetaHuman. That's fine. So this is like super active. It was 0.7 for the neck, and 0.5 for this little like bow tie situation here, the strap. So 0.4. Switch it here. No difference, but it is 0.4. Compile and save it to the level. Okay. Still clipping. Damn. We need to go like 100% of the damn neck. Yeah, okay, so we're seeing this thing go into... This thing just like disappears. I almost need to move it. I need to move it like here. Like, it was a mistake to put it at the neck deformation point, basically. Like right here, this is neck, this is spine, and this is in between. If I just put this here, we could just leave it 100% on the damn spine. So it's a sketch placement. Like it's just very likely to have problems, and it does. It's like kind of highlights where the rig has to compromise itself a little bit. But we are staying in the neck a lot better now, or in the collar. It's sticking with it. The problem is this is basically showing me where my problems are. Oh yeah, like that's like worse. Like, see, that's like, I mean, it's right under the head. You're gonna always see it. But maybe if I'm not, even if I'm less like, it's just gonna call attention to itself. Like, let me just watch it in like a would-be close-up shot. Like, it's for this. Like, if like this angle is kind of like where we would kind of focus this shot for. And I took it from here on my live shot. So I'm gonna watch how terrible this looks. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. They put it there though, but yeah, I see it. I see it. So one thing is, like, if it had to be here, like it's like art direction, whatever, it has to be like, it kind of hides the like kind of no end to this pipe here. One thing that we could do is cut this in half, and the top half is 0.5 neck and the bottom half is more spine. I don't know, like 0.1 neck, something like that. And so it would be bending, though that's kind of not what this does. It's kind of like, this is rigid. So what's happening is it's on the neck and it's kind of like in and out, in and out, in and out. So what solves it more, less or more? And how much did I do? I don't remember. Let's see here. I should be able to tell by the color, but I can't tell. I wish I kind of like showed you. It was like put like a number up here. That would be kind of nice. I could probably write that plugin. You're not showing what you're supposed to be showing. What the heck? I think it's like not selected. Oh, I have the skeleton selected too, is the issue. So it's mostly this now. The neck's pretty sorted, but then like this accessory is a challenge still. I think it is selected. I just want to be sure. No, it's not. So let's select this. I'll reselect it. It's pretty easy. I don't think I want to soft bind this one. This one was kind of like a hard bind, but it's in a tricky place because it's a very deforming place. It's like putting an accessory on the shoulder, and the shoulder is very bendy. Does a lot of things. It's like it's never gonna be very good. It's always gonna be a bit compromised. I feel like I 0.5'd this, and so is less or more better? I think possibly less. So I'll try less. So I'm gonna go back to 100 for the spine, and then for the neck, I'll do 0.3. It'll still be less than ideal, but let's see. This is 0.3 versus 0.5. And this back and forth process is kind of annoying, but at least it works. I should just start overwriting and re-importing because I'm going to have like 20 files. 20 of these chest files at the end. I guess I can just delete out the ones that don't work. Export, that looks fine. This is fine. So many. I could re-import over a new file. I could re-import the new file or just keep doing it like this. But I guess we'll just keep doing it this way. This works, so why mess with it? It's just like gonna fill up this folder with a lot of stuff. This one, you here. Compile, update. Let's see what we get here. Was this the shot we were lining up for this? The hands coming up. There's the punch. I mean, his like neck covers it at that point. Yeah, so we're going for like this shot right here. Like he walks, looks, and then he's going to. It's not bad right now. Come to here. Hands go up. Okay, so we're here. It's definitely active and moving, which is kind of annoying, but it's moving less, and it shouldn't. I don't want it to move so much it clips through the body. But it can move around with the neck a little bit. This is looking okay. That's looking okay. Like the bottom kind of clips through every once in a while, but I kind of like how it's moving. It almost looks like it's like cloth physics, almost like. I mean, this is not great. Like it clips in there. I can't see it there. So when the head goes down, which the head is too active, so that's possibly part of the solve is that it's just too active. I need my handheld camera. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. I'm kind of okay with how it's moving right now. It's like absolute worst, it breaks. But I mean, so does this. I mean, like, so I think it's okay. I think for like the majority of like the reasonable neck movements, we are now inside of the collar. This thing is not so egregiously clipping through. It's only when the neck does like a really far forward thing, which we're trying to kind of not do that anyway, will it actually clip through. So kind of meaning like during like normal dialogue, it should be okay. And then during, anytime we get too extreme on the poses, all parts of the rig get kind of weird. But I think for the majority it's there, and then I think the neck is completely fixed in this case. So even if we go like super active neck, I think the neck is in there pretty well. Because like it's when I walk forward, the retarget really throws the neck one forward, but we're still holding it, which is like it's basically like here. It used to be popping out. Okay, so that's the neck fix. And then also is trying to like kind of negotiate a fix between this. I would say generally there's also some what's it called? Texture projection issues I had with this one. They should all be separate pieces when I send them to Substance Painter basically, but you definitely have to be careful around the neckline. Because this is the deformy part, right? If we're gonna rig clothes to the neck, to neck one, it's basically neck one. You almost never rig it to the head unless it's like a hood or something like that, because the neck is really what's driving this piece here. Yeah, I mean, in like almost all thoughts. So there's always going to be this transition line where it goes from like neck, well down the middle, it's neck to spine 4, and then neck to spine 4-ish to this clavicle upper here. There's clavicle upper and there's clavicle on the back basically. So this is we don't do that in this case, but it's transitioning from like neck and spine control to spine and shoulder control here. So putting things along this area, this is very deformy, especially if the neck is kind of active. Or if you're hand animating it, or you're going to clean it up, it's like you just neutralize all the neck one, or you range it or something, like you scale the motion of it to be like less active, which is what I'm trying to do next in Shogun. But this should make like the majority of what I'm going for like safe as far as the neck clipping. The belt's a bit of a funny one, and I'm gonna leave it for now. The next biggest offender was going to be this, but even if I soft bind this, like if I bind, say like, I would still probably bind the entire bottom half to the upper bone, but then I could take these verts here, which is not very many, but this upper part of the verts, like maybe like this part, I could bind it to the actual helper bone that is actually deforming, which is, let me go to just the shoulders. Oh, they're each a separate mesh. Oh, I didn't even realize that. I mean, that makes it easy to kind of debug the rigging, but basically, oh, there's a lot of bones in there. Damn. So at the moment, this is completely bound to upper arm. But as the arm goes up like that, for mass preservation, let me look at these. I mean, it's right on the helper bone. Basically, like this bone here, and probably, I mean, look at it. It's like right there. Those are moving. Those are active. So if we kind of consider that like this is leather and it's maybe like a little bit flexible, we could like maybe do, I could do 0.5 between these. It's not that simple though, because I'd have to like kind of select the verts, but I guess that's worth trying. I'll give it a shot. I have the iterations of these meshes, so I can always redo it. Or I mean, I could just switch them out. This does not have the resolution to deform in that way, so it's gonna look very stretched out, but I'll give it a shot. Grab this thing here. Yeah, okay, so this is what happens. It's like, where'd the weights go? It's definitely weighted. There's no skeleton. So I had to reinitialize. That didn't help. And then we're going to do a new layer. There they are. And the base weights. And then I delete this layer. And then they're back. So basically this entire thing is weighted. Oh, and there's side to side. The entire thing is weighted to upper arm. But what we want to think about now is weighting, I would say mostly this back one, whatever bone that is. So it could be, and again, I didn't model these to be deformed, so it's going to look kind of funny. But basically, like these, it's going to be hard selection too. I got to turn off this. Pretty much like this. There should be rows here, but there are not. It kind of needs these rows, so this is going to look really odd, but something like this should be maybe 50% weighted to that bone too, which is only going to be activated when it's doing helper bone things. What that bone's called, I don't know. I don't remember. That's going to be like upper arm something on the right. Is this the right arm? So I should be able to write upper arm *_R. That helps limit them. There's still a lot though. And if I had to guess, it is upper arm back. That one. I think it didn't show me actually. It's not showing me. Oh, I do have to turn on paint. It's this one. Okay. So I'm going to give this kind of awkward selection of rows here 0.5 to this one. That might be insane. I have no idea. 0.5. So again, this is going to deform and stretch kind of terribly because there's no verts in here. It's just going to be this like huge pivot and shear. Okay. So we can do it to just one side for now, and I can try to mirror it back if I want to. So that 0.5, really? It doesn't look like 0.5, but oh, I have the wrong mesh display on, but that's fine, whatever. Okay, so let's look at this. That was the right hand, the right shoulder, and that's the one that's here. So what I'm hoping is that when we put this on there, that this part of the leather stays outside of the shirt. And it's going to look weird. It's going to be all stretched out, but that's the thought. And I would, if I was planning on making this soft rigged, it would need like much more resolution. So take shoulders, or upper arm rather, and roots. Export selection. We're going upper arm. Oh, we did another upper arm already. What was that one? 03. What's this second one? I don't remember doing a second one. Upper arm. Let's see which one we're actually using in the blueprint in a second. Are there really two upper arms? There's not. There's this. What is that? How come O2 is the body? What? There's something. What? Upper arm. These are like name drawn or something. I don't understand. Why is this called upper? That says upper body. That's upper. I don't understand what that one is, but whatever. We're not using that. I don't know what that was. That was probably a I probably misnamed the body upper arm by accident, and that's what happened. It was just a misnaming, and I never deleted it. Gimme. Okay, at least those are shoulder pads or arm pads. So we'll switch this in and we'll see what happens here. The more efficient way would be to have this set up in the main Maya file that has like all those like secondary bones firing, and then get an FBX animation in here, but that's a lot easier said than done on multiple levels. I think it's selected already. Arm 3, yeah, okay. Push it to the level, and ooh, gross. Okay, so now it's like trying to bend with it, but not quite. Yeah, and it's just not. It doesn't have the resolution. Like you can like the verts are like it's not better. It's like worse in a way. Mostly because and for a lot of reasons I don't really know what those helper bones are doing, and so yeah, that's not helping anybody. That would be worse. So I don't know what the helper bones are doing mostly. So it's probably too much to blind start doing that. And again, we don't have the resolution. So if we were to do that, we would actually unbind from the main bone and try to rebind. I mean, this is basically a covering over the helper bones. We would do a copy skin weights from the helper bones is what happens to this, and it would treat this piece like it was cloth. But the thing is, like, these are doing like bicep things and all sorts of weird stuff that for now is I think it's worse. That would take a bit more experimentation. So I'm gonna go back to version 1 and just take the clipping. Like it's not that bad. Like this armor just is in the hands up poses. This armor is clippy. Like it kind of wasn't meant to be. Kind of shouldn't do those actions as much, which I won't on this next mocap take. Looking at the neck, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So starting here, yeah. So say like that was like an actual take I would use, you know, it's like, where do you end up? Here, right? Like let's say we ended up in like a Star Wars-y shot. He like walks right up into the medium close. Just kind of watching the neck stay in, watching it move back and forth, and then looking at the buckle kind of disappearing into the chest a bit. I think it's okay. And then I just need to be like kind of reserved with my it's hard. I need to be like more reserved with my neck animation. There's no ray tracing in this. I forget if I turn ray tracing on, but anyway, I don't have this project isn't set up for rendering. The one downstairs is. This is just like a default stock kind of project. I guess we'll just go flat on with them. We just want to see. So we'll review this, and then I'm going to go do a mocap take. Even in T-pose, we're having collisions, but that's what's going to happen. Yeah, the neck's staying in there. We just want to make sure the neck is in there and it's not too distracting. There's a couple intersection moments, but no like outright coming through. It's close. But the neck one a bit too overactive anyway. It comes out there. We'll just I'll just take that for now. There's bigger problems with the shoulders. It's pretty good. It's better. The neck is better. Again, if I'm going to start going for like dialogue shots where I'm going to be like here, but I'll be like talking. We mostly just don't want anything to call attention to itself there. I'm going to see how bad the double-sided fix would be for this as well. I'm not going to remodel that and reskin it. I'm just going to switch the material of the upper body, which must be this, to two-sided. Which doesn't add that much to the instruction count. It's not that much worse. Or I don't even know if it's an instruction count thing. It might be like an overall rendering thing. But yeah, so now it's like where there was like a hole back here, you shouldn't see through anymore to it. Which in motion just shows up as it being too bright. Though I'm going to probably do this in like a fairly dark scene. You don't want to put this stuff in like the full daylight. Or I don't. So just kind of watching this again with that neck material fix and the next rigging fix. Actually, I think I moved the camera, didn't I? It's not a bad place for it, actually. But yeah, so you can't see the hole now. And Oh, there's collision issues all over. So like the rigging is not like really finished. Like there's some like so low poly. Like so definitely when I do this my next one, I'm gonna go for like the full LOD 0 finish on everything. This is like LOD. Yeah, there's holes here. Which making the whole base material for this thing is always safe to be double-sided. But this one's like LOD 2, and then this one's like LOD 3. It's like very mixed resolutions. But where it matters, it did go correctly. Like I went pretty high poly on this and high poly on the legs, and that's mostly working out. And yeah, I'm not sure what exactly to do with, like I'm looking at this, like coming through here. It's like you really want to rig to like that crazy Maya file, but that's intense, like to do that one. I don't know how exporting comes out of that file too. But if we were in Maya with that rigged file, with the damn full MetaHuman here, we would see this clipping in Maya, and I'd be able to more fluidly experiment with things on it. At a certain point, like I'm like for almost everything, holy crap, for almost everything I do, I don't need like professional like Riot Games like arcane cinematic finish rigging. Like as long as it's like as long as it's mostly on there and mostly working, that's more than enough. So I'm kind of happy with it. But you know, as I get better, my own tolerances for how good I want the rigging to be will probably increase, and so it's gonna mean putting these on bones, fully understanding the pose drivers if we rig to them, and probably not rigging to the pose drivers anymore. And like Jeremiah said, it's like this is you put each one of them on a new helper bone, you add even more bones, and we decide in control rig over a certain range of rotations of the upper arm, we do a corrective to this, which in this case would be like it's rigged here, I think, or it's rigged like in the arm. So the bone here, as this hits a certain range, we have to pull this armor out. So it would be like whatever local this way is, it would be pulling out this way and maybe kind of rotating out. So it would just be a pure bone drive, like pose driver, just to keep this thing out. And then same thing here, this would have to like not go into the head, but go up and rotate to try to not have it clip there. And it's still going to clip with each other, but we'd have these like primary correctives happening versus skinning this to the helper bones. It doesn't make sense because like that's going to start simulating like, shoulder muscles, bicep muscles. And like, that's not what you wanted. I did that with my knight armor. And when I moved my arm, the knight armor was like flexing like it was a muscle, and that's not what you wanted to do. And I can even see like the weighting got kind of like funny here. So like overall it's fine, but there's still, quite a bit of there's a long journey between like 80%, which this rig is, and 95%. There's a lot more work for that last tail. To get that stuff cleaned up. But I think for shipping to Cinetracer, for any like the linear content to make it, like this is plenty. Even the neck, I think the neck fix was like the most egregious out of all of them because it's like just annoying. It's like, why is your neck popping through every time? It's an easy enough fix. And if it pops through here, it's like, that's fine because I'm going to always come back to this, something like this. So, I mean, it's the main thing I need out of this now that like kind of breaks this workflow, it makes it kind of annoying, is that I need a head. I need a head in here. And there's a lot of people who have that issue, and I still haven't like directly reached out to Epic. I've been trying to like solve it on my own, but at this point I really need LOD. I need LOD 1 quads rigged to the skeleton. I don't need the pose drivers. It's just so I can do this like initial binding, and then I'm gonna take that LOD 0 one, strip out the fingernails, whatever, and that's my base mesh. And I'll probably make base shoes. And then anytime I'm making like MetaHuman clothes, I can start from there. And I'm like, I have a very good base to start from. Versus like kind of the full retop way I did it this time. It's kind of a waste. And then I really think for the hand stuff, though I don't really intend to make gloves anymore. Because I don't know, I'm going to make like normal clothes and not really wearing gloves for the most part. But there's kind of no point in me going and doing this topo myself when I could basically shrink wrap, copy attributes, the actual MetaHuman finger topology, which isn't massively different than this. I got pretty close actually on my own. That being said, this deforms well enough. It's been kind of fine. So that's fixing the neck and this little accessory. So the more like floppy hangy details we add to it, it's cool, but rigging, you know, and especially if you're like, hey, we're gonna put stuff like on the deforming areas like this belt. It's like, that's a problem sometimes. So I think with this neck fix, I think I can send this as a U asset downstairs. Getting this stuff back and forth is a pain in the ass. I still don't perforce my like mocap projects. I can't. I already have 3 perforce projects, and that's already too many for me. But yeah, basically I'll just send this new upper body down and then try a little bit of a retarget on the neck to slow it down, and then I'm gonna go do like a talking. I need to go recalibrate my system for when I'm wearing a headset. I have a bunch of things I have to fix, and I'll try a new live retarget. I can always post retarget. I haven't done any actual post cleanup in Shogun. There's a lot you can post do, but it's like takes quite a long time. But now I'm actually shipping this. Like, so before, like basically before this project, I did everything like a live VTuber. Everything was just live. It could have been live streamed. I was screen recording. But now I'm actually baking to animations. I'm keeping the animations. And then from there, you can do a ton of cleanup. I could fix everything and just how much time I want to spend on it. Every little issue. We could do optical solving fixes, and then even retarget fixes again, and then actual final motion editing and attaching props to hands and stuff like that, which is kind of like, I have to start adding sockets. I really don't want to. I guess these projects are there to like, I need to come up with how I want to do the socketing for these for the game. I mean, it's definitely one on each hand, and then like, I don't know. I'm trying not to modify the skeleton just yet. What's up, Parky? The neck is better. The upper armor, the upper armor, it's gonna just clip through. I don't have a corrective for it. And he's got quite the crotch bulge going on, which is kind of hilarious. I don't know why that's happening, but like he kind of has like some pretty active like that. I don't know what that is, but sure. I really don't know why it's bulged like that. And the belt, it was actually way more complicated than I was thinking. He's also kind of like hippie or something. Like his hips are like wider than his shoulders. I don't know how that's happening. But I don't know what's happening with that. Actually, it's an odd proportion. He's like kind of pear shaped, which isn't how he was modeled. But something with the rig is like pushing those hip correctives out. So yeah, it's quite a layered process to have control over this. It's one thing to model it, but a completely different thing to like retarget it and animate it and have everything, as good as it can be. There's just a lot of pieces to this. The Witcher bulge, yeah, he does. Yeah, he's packing, man. Like, but like not by design. You know what I mean? It's like even when I took this into like control rig, and tried to pose it, it's like, okay, that looks fine, but you really don't know until it's this, until he's moving in a way that you would want him to mostly, and then you film it in the lighting and the rendering style, and then you finally see how the rig went. Yeah. There's a lot to this. This is not something I'm gonna get. Like I've been doing almost I've been like full timing MetaHumans for almost a year now, and there's still a lot left. I think the broad strokes of it, I kind of have it down, but yeah, that last 20% of like quality rigging, quality animation, quality retard, all that stuff, it's like, eh. This is why there's departments of people working on this. Okay, so the next one I'm gonna do, yeah, I know he does have the hippie. I don't know what it is. I turned off Maya, but there's bones here, these helper bones, And I think the way that I skinned it, it just like makes it wide. I don't know what that is. I don't think I modeled them that way. But once you skin it, the model changes. You know what I mean? It's like, you skin it to the A pose, but then it's like, but they never stand in A pose. They always stand a certain way, and like, yeah, I lost control of this. These hip bones are freaking out. There's a possibility it's a double transform in the like. Let me turn this off actually. Oh, what happened there? Is it gonna do it? Oh, it might be a double transform. I was noticing that actually. Okay, so we baked in the correctives is what happened. Okay, actually this fixed it. Look, so he's less it was a double transform. So it was the corrective bones firing twice. There we go. Okay, so I bet he doesn't have like a bulge anymore. He's got a little one, but it wasn't as big. So it was a double corrective. It's the post process blueprint on the body firing twice, because it got baked into the animation. And then it was firing again. So it was a double one. So that's why the hips were so out there. That fixes a bunch. And let's look at the arm. Oh, so this should be less bad. Nah, it's still pretty bad, but like, so we were like doubly bad back here. So it's actually less bad because we were doing double transforms on these helper bones. And I wonder how the neck goes. There's no helper bones around the neck though, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's just the neck. There's nothing else. There's these, but we didn't weight it to that. We weighted it to the spine and the neck, so there's no helper bones on that. Okay, so I got to remember when I got to strip out. I don't know how you do that, but you need to strip out. When I'm sequence recording, I need to tell it to not do the helper bones, and that's not something I can do easily. We'd have to strip it out in Maya or turn off post-process blueprints when we record it. Which this was a problem when I was doing hybrid, partial animation, partial mocap, partial live with a MetaHuman. You have to kind of like be very on top of not double baking. What's it called? Oh, when you're recording, you turn off post-process blueprints. That's what you do. Yeah, I remember that. I never remember that shit though. Oh, the TikTok. Yeah, TikTok's fun. It's definitely like the VR avatar audience is there. Hey, you know what? These are even better now. Okay, so I was looking at double correctives. I mean, we still have like that, but it's pretty good now. Okay, so I have to remember when I record this. Ideally, I don't record the it crashed. I shouldn't record. What do we crash on? Array index lookup table .num. On a curve, yeah, I mean, there's so much. Those MetaHumans are firing so much. Animation instance proxy. So it crashed like trying to look up something in the animation file. Which we're in 4.27. Well, that's too bad. But in Unreal Engine 5 ER too, it's like this shit crashes constantly. It's like, it's like, yeah, I have to save an awful lot. But anyway, that worked out fine. I'm going to go send that corrected neck asset down and try to do a retarget. And so maybe today or tomorrow, definitely I'll have a talking test and try to get everything looking how that goes. I'm going to record it too. When I record my ARK, it kind of doesn't look as good as when it's live, which I don't understand. So lots of stuff to figure out. But cool. I'll be back later. Peace.